Hey, friend. So I am going on vacation in a couple of weeks. I am going to actually be traveling to Gatlinburg and we're going to be renting out a cabin and I cannot wait. And we just announced it to the girls just yesterday. And the part that we were all most excited about is that inside of our cabin, there's going to be an arcade, like an arcade game. And all three of us, Zoe, Leilani, and myself, were like, oh, we hope it's Pac-Man. Because as a good homeschooling mama, I have introduced my kids to the classics. And when Eddie saw how excited we all were about the possibility of an arcade, he said, well, do you guys want to buy an arcade? Do you guys want to buy the Pac-Man game? And I didn't have to think twice. I said, no, no. Now, could I afford a Pac-Man game? Probably. Is it a priority for me? No. And since it's not a priority, it is not a part of my budget. And the question that I have to ask of you today is, what do you think of when you think of a budget? Okay, because everything begins and ends in between the ears. Okay, and if you think of a budget as something that limits your life, it limits your ability to experience life, you're going to put that on the shelf and you're not going to touch it with a 10-foot pole. Okay, however, if you think of a budget as actually something that makes it possible for you to experience more of life, well, you're going to be looking at that thing a little bit more often. You're going to look at it pretty often. And so when I think of a budget, actually what a budget is, it's actually a plan. That's what it is. It's a plan. And Jim Rohn, and I don't want to mess up this quote, but Jim Rohn said, let me see here, if you don't design your own life plan, chances are you'll fit into someone else's plan. And today I was listening to some friends of mine, they do a truth bomb day, and they were talking a little bit about the mindset of money, and they said something that was so powerful. They said, if you don't manage your money will manage you, right? And so a budget is essentially your claim to being the driver, right? To being the manager of your money. That's basically all it is. Now, when it comes to wanting to buy something, let's say you want to buy something, have you ever asked yourself, can I afford that? Or I can't afford that. I can't afford it. And you just take it out of mind. Well, today I want to talk to you about 3 ways that you can afford anything that you want in life, and 3 steps. Okay. So the first step is prioritize what you want. Okay. What that means is that you're going to put it in order of priority, and you're going to say, this is more important than this. Okay. And once you have prioritized what it is that you want, then you can move on to step number 2, which is to become more efficient with your expenses. And you're going to become more efficient with the awareness of what it is that's more important. That efficiency might include maybe eliminating some expenses that are not part of your priority. Okay. Another thing is that it may be eliminating debt, right? Now, a third way to be able to afford whatever it is that you want, and this is kind of a sequence here, is to actually generate more income. So, you prioritize, and then you spend your money more efficiently, or a little bit more efficient with your expenditures. And then number 3 is that you generate more income. And I don't know that this option is on the table often enough. Okay. I believe that way too often people look at their budget as this little box that outlines their limits, and they cannot go past those limits. Okay. Whereas I want to challenge you to think of your budget as an outline of your priorities, which means that your priorities will fit in because you will make them fit in. So a couple of years ago, I have 10-year-old twins, and I think they were maybe like 6, 7, or 8. They had asked for American Girl dolls for Christmas. And if you don't have the privilege of having little girls, or if you're not familiar with American Girl dolls, they are each about $110. Can I afford? Can it fit? Can I find money in my budget to buy my kids a doll? Sure. Was it a priority for me? No. But what was a priority for me was to teach my kids that they can have whatever they choose as long as they're willing to work for it. So I actually asked them a question. They said, Mommy, we want this for Christmas. And I said, great, that's awesome. How do you plan to afford that? And so they started brainstorming. They decided to do a lemonade stand. And I realized that they would probably be 30 before they earned enough money to buy their American Girl dolls. And so I suggested that they sell chocolate truffles door to door, which is what they did. In 2 Sundays, they knocked on doors in our neighborhood. In 2 Sundays, they earned enough money to buy themselves their American Girl dolls. And so the challenge that I have for you today is to learn that question, because that question works for whatever priority you have in your life, whatever it is that you want to afford in your life. The question is, how can I? Okay. So we prioritize it. We decide that it's something that's very important. And then we become efficient with our expenditures. And then we generate more income. And that third option, like I said, is one that people don't often take into consideration. And the question we started with in the beginning is, what do you think of when you think of a budget, right? And my invitation is for you to think of the budget as you taking ownership of managing your money so that it doesn't manage you. Now, tomorrow night, I'm going to be coming live. We're going to be doing a webinar with three other people that are going to be giving tips, offering tips on how it is that you can manage your money more efficiently so that you can control your expenditures and use it more efficiently, and also ways to generate more income. And so you are absolutely invited to join us tomorrow night so that you can put yourself back in the driver's seat of managing your money so that the money does not manage you. Check the captions to find out how to join us, but you are invited to become the dominant force and to become the driver of your finances and your financial health.